Okay, guys and girls, the objective today is to write and solve proportions. 6th grade. First thing we're going to do is go over the homework from Friday, then we'll go into the warm-up. Okay, homework from Friday, you guys had to do practice 6.1, so let's get started here. Greta, we'll start with you on number 1, yes or no, and then tell us the 2 other ways to write it. Good? Yep. Good job. Okay, so colon, so there's number 1, I have them up here already. Michelle, number 2, shh, guys and girls. Good job. Number 3, Shane. Good job. David, number 4. You didn't check Blackboard? Okay, you got to make sure you're doing that when you're not here. Okay, you do it all weekend. Amberly, number 4. Oh, hold on. That one should be no. 3 goes into both of them. Or sorry, 13 goes into both of them. I didn't mean to say 3. Okay. So no, but then Amberly, just tell us what were the 2 other ways to write a ratio, a fraction, and then what were the 2 other ways? Good job. Okay, so that was number 4. Gio, number 5. Good job. Number 6, Ray. Okay, just make sure they're both 17 to 44. You said 7 by accident. Okay. All right, number 7, since it's already up here, 7 is no, 11 over 4, 11 to 4. Number 8 is no, 7 over 2, and then the other one is 7 colon 2. Remember, there's always 3 different ways to write a ratio. We talked about that Friday. Skylar, number 9. Um, 4 goes into each of those on number 9. Okay. 12 to 7. Okay, that's all right. So 12 to 7 and then 12 colon 7. Alexis, number 12. Good. 24 people for every 1 bus. Who can remind us, in your own words, what is a unit rate? What is always a unit rate? Joseph? Good. A ratio that is to 1. And then in your own words, what is a ratio? A ratio always what? What does a ratio always do? Amberly? Good job. Compares 2 quantities. Okay, Drew, 13. Good job. 14, Steve. You just divided wrong. Or close. Ray? Good job. 24 miles over 1 gallon. 25, Neil? So which cereal box was the better value? Good, the first one. And this is something that you guys, I don't know if your parents use coupons or if you guys ever think about any of that when you're shopping, but this is something you can actually do using unit rates. Which one is the better value? Abigail. 12 through 20? Hold on. 12 through 14, comma, 25. This was from Friday. This was from Friday, though. Okay, I'll read over the answers. How about that? Raise your hand if you did 12 through 20. Miss Wingrove, did I say that on Friday? Okay. All right. Okay, I'll read them. Ready? Okay. Starting with 15. You ready? Okay, starting with 15, if you did them. 2.6 gallons for every 1 minute. 16, 250 calories for every 1 hour. 17, $25 per 1 share. Does everyone hear me okay? Okay. Sorry, guys. 18 is yes. 19 is no. 20 is yes. Does anyone need me to repeat any of the ones I just said? Okay, Ben. For 25? Okay, I'll go over that one. Okay. We did. Okay, 6th grade, listen. Is it okay if I move this? Did everyone check? Ben, I'm getting to that. Hold on one second, okay? Ben, did you have the right answer? Yeah, that's the answer. Because that's the bigger box. There were 2 boxes. There was a 20-ounce box and a 12-ounce box. The bigger box was better because you get 6.66 repeating ounces for every $1. The 12-ounce box, you only get 6 ounces for every $1. You got it? Anyone else need clarification or questions on any of these? Even if you did more than you had to, which was a lot of you, sorry. All right, put that away. Let's go to your notes. Open up to page 5, please. Okay, again, our objective today is to talk about proportions. If we get to it, I'm going to have you guys and girls work on some word problems in your groups today. A lot of this is a review from last year, so I don't think this section should be too bad for you. Tomorrow's lesson is when the proportions get to be a little bit more difficult. Joseph? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and if you guys have your back to me, if you just want to like turn sideways or kind of turn your desk, or like Jordan, you can actually move to a different seat. Gio, David, Nathan M, and Neil, are you guys going to be okay if you turn, or you okay? Okay, Gio and Nathan, if you guys need to like turn your desk, you can. Okay. All right, the warm-up, letter A. Jordan, what did you get for letter A on the warm-up? Good job. Letter A should be $840. Letter B, Evan? Okay, you didn't get to that. Jackie? Good, 95 meters. Okay, any questions on, those are just 2 warm-up problems. You guys had any questions on either one of those? Okay, can someone explain to me, how do you get 95 for this one? What did you do, Amberly? Good job. To go from here to here, you divide this side by 5. That means you have to take 475 divided by 5 to get what's here. So that's how you get 95. Okay, questions? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about proportions, then again, I'm going to have you guys work in your group for a little bit. Okay, so here's the definition from your book. A proportion, and I'll move so you guys can see, is an equation that states that 2 ratios are equivalent. We talked about Friday what a ratio is. We also talked about what equivalent means. 2 fractions have to be equal. Okay, so a proportion now, we're going to end up solving for a missing numerator or denominator on one of the fractions. So a proportion is an equation that states that 2 ratios are equivalent. Okay, here's an example from the book. So 2/3 is equivalent to 8/12. You can take 2/3 and multiply the numerator and denominator by 4. They're equivalent. Okay, so 2 ratios that are equivalent, you have an equal sign between them, because that tells us they are equivalent, they are equal. And then example using letters. Of course, you're going to always see an example with variables. A over B is, bless you, is equivalent to C over D. B and D cannot equal 0. So they are equivalent. B and D cannot equal 0. Okay, when you guys are ready, let's take a look at example 1. Do not go ahead of me on this, though, okay? There's 2 ways to solve this, and you guys are going to solve it the way that I don't want you to. From last year, don't write this down, but can someone explain to us, how did you solve this last year? And it's going to be different than what we're doing today. Kevin? Okay, good. So you guys kind of say, all right, 7 times what is 35? 7 times 5 is 35. You're going to take 4 times 5, which is 20. Okay, I don't want you to do it that way because they are going to get more difficult. Nathan S., how would you do it? Good job. How did you get that? Do you know what you did? Okay. Ben, do you know what he did? Yeah. Did you learn that last year? You just knew that. Okay, Ben? Good. Okay, you can do it that way. You can do it that way. Okay, here's something we're going to, hold on one second, Joseph. We're going to talk about tomorrow. If you use cross products, multiply across both ways. It kind of looks like it's a butterfly. Do you see that? Okay, so even though, Drew, why don't you just get up and pick up your pencil, okay? Even though this is a pretty easy problem, tomorrow they're going to get more difficult, and it's much easier to set it up this way. So let's try to get in the habit of doing it this way. Joseph? That's what we're going to do tomorrow. Okay, so you might have seen them before then. Okay, so 7 times W is 7W, so let's multiply across. It does not matter which one you multiply first. And then 4 times 35 is 140. So multiply across both ways. What is this? What is this called that we just set up? It's from chapter 3. Kimberly? Good. This is a one-step equation. So you're basically setting up some type of equation when you are solving a proportion. Okay? We then divide both sides by 7. You always want to get the variable by itself. We end up with W equals 20. So we talked through that 2 ways. I'd like you guys and girls to try doing them this way. Okay? Okay, the second one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to solve for M using cross products. So again, draw your butterfly. You can start with whichever side that you want. I usually start with the side that has the variable, just because I like that on the left-hand side. It's up to you guys and girls what you prefer. 2 times M is 2M. And then 9 times 12 is 108. And then you solve your one-step equation. Divide both sides by 2. Ray, what do you get? Good job. M equals 54. Now, to check your answer, you can take that 54, put it back into the proportion, and then if you're not sure, use your calculator, take 54 divided by 12, hit math, enter, enter, and it will reduce it to 9/2 for you. Okay? Okay. And then one more. Let's do this last one together. So use cross products again. We're going to take H times 3, and then 12 times 17, so draw your butterfly. Again, I always start with the variable side. You don't have to. 3 times H is 3H. 12 times 17 is 204. So multiply across both ways. And then divide both sides by 3. Gio, what do we get? So 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Drop down the 4. So 3 goes into 24 how many times? Good. You were trying to think through that, right? Okay. Sorry for speeding you along there. So 68. Questions on those 3 examples? Okay, the next part is pretty much the same, but the book wants you to use algebra. We're not going to do that part because we did that in the last chapter a lot. Okay, I need you to flip over to page 6 of your notes. Okay, I'm going to do, this is the plan. I'm going to do one of these with you, okay, and then I'm going to let you know what you're going to do with the rest of them. So let's take a look at letter A. Okay, these are now word problems, but you need to use a proportion to solve them. So letter A says, a recipe calls for tomato salsa, and 30 tomatoes are going to make 12 pints of salsa. We need to figure out, based on that information, how many tomatoes are needed to make 4 pints of salsa. So before you tell me the answer, what 2 things or variables are we talking about in this problem? So what 2 different objects are the focus of this problem? That's the first thing I need from you. Alexis? Good. Pints of salsa. So I want you guys to write down pints. Okay. Pints. And then tomatoes. Okay, so pints and tomatoes. These are the two items or variables that they are talking about in this problem. Yes, you could write down pints of salsa. Yes, you could get more specific, but this is fine. You can keep it general. What I want you to do after you identify the two different terms that they're discussing in the problem is look at what they gave you. So they told us you need 30 tomatoes for 12 pints of salsa. So you're going to make a ratio, putting those numbers in the correct spot. So I'll say that again. Look at the information that they give you. 12 pints of salsa. You'll need 30 tomatoes for that. Write the numbers where they go. Evan? Doesn't matter. Good question. Yeah, you can put tomatoes on the top, pints on the bottom. It does not matter. For now, I'd like you guys to stay with me. As long as you're consistent and you have all the pints on the top or all the pints on the bottom and vice versa with the tomatoes, you're fine. Anyone else have a question for me yet? Okay, equals. We need to find the other side of our proportion, in other words, the other ratio. How many tomatoes are needed to make 4 pints of salsa? What is the unknown in this problem? Nathan S., what's the unknown? Good. I'm going to put an X where tomatoes are because we don't know how many tomatoes are needed for 4 pints of salsa. So 4 is going to go above the X. That's the other side of your proportion. That's what we have to find. Okay, is everyone okay on how we set that up? And again, that's just one way. Okay, to solve that, we're going to use cross products. So let's solve. Make your butterfly. Multiply across both ways. I usually start with the side that has the variable. 12 times x is 12x. 4 times 30 is 120. And then you're solving for how many tomatoes are in 4 pints. So maybe we should make some salsa, huh, guys? So 120 divided by 12 is, anyone want to tell us? Evan? Good. So we end up with x equals 10 tomatoes. And it would be helpful if you wrote down what that number was referring to, especially since we're setting up a proportion here. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. Did you follow me on that before I decide what we're going to do now? Nathan S., I just need to see your thumb. Okay. All right, here's what I want you guys and girls to do. I want you to look in your note packet. I want you to try in your group letters B, C, and D. So I'll write it up here. In your group, quietly, I want you guys and girls to agree on the two objects that the problem is talking about, okay? And then together, set up your ratio, two ratios, which are equivalent, or you can say set up your proportion. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes, just B, C, and D. I'm then going to ask 3 groups to explain it for us, okay? So in your group, I want you to collaborate quietly and figure out what you want to do for B, C, and D. Got it? Okay, go ahead and get started. I'm going to pause this until you guys are done. All right, I'm going to have Steve's group is going to tell us how to do B. So someone in Steve's group, can you tell us what 2 labels you used for letter B? Let's start there. Drew? Okay. Now, the order that you write your labels does not matter, okay? Camille, can you now tell us how did you set up your proportion? Okay. Good job. Okay, let me pause there. Does anyone have a question for Steve's group on how they got their labels? Ray? Okay, should be listening. Or how they, okay, I heard you guys, so you shouldn't be talking. Does anyone have a question for this group on how they got that? Okay, Neil, can you tell us the answer that your group got for letter B? 2, 5. And then make sure you keep the label that goes with it. Keep your miles, okay? Anyone have questions for them? All right, Michelle, your group's going to tell us for letter C what 2 labels that you used. Good. Blue moon and then years. Okay, Shane, can you tell us what proportion you used to solve that? Awesome. Good. And then David, what answer did you get for letter C? Good job. Okay, so here's letter C. Now, they kind of said it. They had these two ratios flipped. That's fine. You do not have to have it exactly like I do. Okay, as long as you have your labels correct and everything's lined up correctly, you're fine. Okay, any questions for David and Michelle and Shane's group on how they got this? All right, Greta, your group is going to tell us for letter D. One of you guys can tell us what two labels you used. Okay, good. January and then maybe total snow in the winter, but just winter means total snowfall. Okay, Abigail, how did you set up your proportion? Good job. And then Nathan S., what answer did you get? Good job. Josh, do you agree? Okay. Sorry, I thought I read that one. So January and total snowfall or winter are their labels. And then their proportion was 2/5 equals 34 over x. Again, you could have it flipped around as long as everything's lined up correctly. These represent the January numbers. These two represent the total snowfall. After you solve, you get 2x equals 170. And as Nathan S. said, the answer here is 85 inches. That was the total snowfall if January got 34 inches of snow. Okay, any questions on that one? Any questions on anything we did today? Okay, I need you guys to turn to your homework packet. 6.2. On practice 6.2, I want you guys to do numbers 10 through 18, and I'll make sure I say this correctly today. If I did say it wrong Friday, sorry. 10 through 18, and then 22 through 26. And if you're not done with your test corrections, please make sure on another piece of paper you show your work and turn those in to myself or Miss Wingrove tomorrow. On your homework, when you're on the proportion part, please show your work. Make sure you are using your two labels just like we did in class today. Okay, we have about 4 minutes to get started, so go ahead and get started. Practice 6.2 and test corrections due tomorrow. Yeah, you can work on either your test corrections now or the practice packet, whatever you prefer. Make sure both are done tomorrow. Ray? No, I'm going to put in Friday's homework, which was for today. As long as you guys were here today, I'm going to give you all points for that. So that'll be the last assignment that goes in. Okay? If you notice any mistakes on your test, please let me know. I did take my time when I was grading those Saturday morning. So if you notice anything, though, let me know. Amberly, I'll be right there.